Alright, people. I am back. This is another MPEG 2 video. And this is the one that I'll change to AVI. Or maybe I'll do the next one in AVI. This one should come out alright. Maybe, that's what I'll do. I don't know. Hey, Ken. Hey, Rush. Okay? Now, what I was talking about is... Excuse me, I do have a cold. Yeah. So, topic for today, I don't even have, this is all just off the top of my head stuff. What do we have to talk about today? Well, what are you eating? She's trying to eat this. This is supposed to got other, I don't know where she got this. She's trying to eat a twist tie. Kenzie, don't eat a twist tie. She knows better. Sorry. Oh yeah, I can't even lay like this because I frickin'. Oh boy. Yeah. Do you know if you have broken ribs, they don't reset them or anything? Like if you break a rib or multiple ribs, you go to the hospital, they'll just give you some vitamins and fluids and send you home. Yeah, they'll monitor your heart and blood pressure and all that, but they're not going to do anything for it, for your ribs. Like if they're semi-crushing your lungs, they'll be like, yeah, as long as your oxygen levels are alright. As long as you're actually, it doesn't matter if you're struggling to breathe, it's the fact that if you're actually doing it, then they're not going to help you out, you know? Unless your ribs are seriously smushing your insides or whatever. They're not going to help you out, which is, I think, really messed up. Granted, they do. Usually your ribs will heal on their own, it's just they're not gonna, they'll be they'll be a little out of line for a while. Even, physical therapy, which I have to go back to, and blah, blah, blah. Medical service is a medical mafia, and they do, any doctors out there is like 90% or more are terrible, terrible people who just are obviously in it for the money. They take a Hippocratic oath, and they will do what they can for most things, but most things aren't serious. When it comes to the serious stuff, I think that and I know that from my experience, most of them have been very neglectful and just have been really, really, not only mean to me, because as soon as you, like, they see, like, because I'm short, or because of my age, because I'm short, and because of the way I talk, just complete discrimination, and, they just simply, they're taking advantage of me, but it's not just, like, I don't think that I'm so special that it's just me. I'm aware that it's most people, and that if you know them personally, or if you are intimidating them to such a point physically, because most of them, even though they can follow procedure and memorize a textbook, which they quick to forget anyways, and they walk around with little laptops now because they have, they're Googling it. What's your problem? Yeah, well, hold on, I've just got to boot up my laptop here and look it up, and which you could have done at home. And the only difference is they have money to, they have the money or the resource to have the certain diagnostic machines or equipment, and having them would and should obviously mean, especially with the money they're getting paid, that they know how to use them, the knowledge on how to use them and what they're used for. That's just obvious. But other than that, they don't seem to be very smart or very nice, most of them. Or especially the nurses, actually, a lot of the times, more clueless, or just as clueless, and a lot meaner, And then it's like, okay, you don't like me, or sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're not as mean, but still mean. And they'd be like, oh well, you know, what they're saying in their head to me seems like sometimes is that, well, you know, if they tell, I've never really said anything. I've brought in this recorder and recorded some of the conversations I've had. But usually when the really bad combos have gone on, I haven't had this. But which is why I'm getting a digital one soon, so I can, you know, it's a lot smaller, and hopefully the MP3 player that I'll eventually get, I'll have one as well. And because my last one did. And so, and actually my last one I still have. I broke the headphone part, but I just realized the recorder still works. So I could use it strictly as a digital recorder. I just realized I could do that, which is really interesting. I just realized that. Good thing I did. Anyways, point is, there are a lot. I never really said anything. And they'll be like, oh, well, you know, basically the idea that I'm getting from them is that, well, you can tell just by, obviously no one's gonna like what they say, so the idea is when they tell you something you don't like, oh, if you don't like me, you're definitely not gonna like this doctor, because, you know, he's more powerful and all this stuff than me. So they basically are really, the whole medical establishment, from the psychology, which is, they're more upfront with the fact that, you know, because they've done away with these, whatever they used, you know, psychiatric wards or whatever. Now they're mental hospitals, and it's called different. They use different terminology, and they're I think all over from what I've read and heard that they're a lot nicer. So I think there's no room for them to be mean, but yet they're treating things that are non-existent, or are symptoms of a medical condition, and with things that aren't that are skewed studies, where skewed studies have taken place, and botched studies and other studies that are false, and so they sort of aren't really helping anyone anyway. So they're just sort of upfront about that, and especially if you know that, be surprised that a lot of them don't work in the field, but yeah, so they're just, it's more a lot friendlier atmosphere a lot of the time. That now, if you're actually in an inpatient hospital, such as a mental hospital, then it's a little bit different. Definitely, as far as how you're treated and stuff. And there's some forced medications and treatment and such. Anyways, so it's basically just the, besides for an inpatient facility, mostly which is links right in at that point to the, and all this anyway, into regular health care. So basically, I think most people are aware, but I don't think most people go. You know, there's so few people, and you break it down and realize that most of the population in America, where healthcare is available, or in Europe, Canada, and such, will go where healthcare is, assuming it's even available. If you're, first of all, a lot of people won't go for health insurance reasons, or because they simply know all this about hospitals and simply don't like them or trust them or whatever. So that's most of the people right there. Small percentage of the ones that do go in don't have something too serious. So those people can be written off, and that's most of the people that go in. Out of that people, there's people that do have something serious but can be written off and will get better on their own. So, you keep breaking it down like that, and pretty soon there's a very, very, realize there's a very small, maybe 1 in 100 or less. I still have my wristbands from there, and they have the literal number of your patient number is literally the number, since I realized by comparing my wristbands that this number, my patient number, was actually the number of people that actually have been to the hospital ever, and there's something like 15 million. Well, I would estimate, now that since they've been open maybe 100 years or more or whatever, but approximately 100 years-ish. So, yeah. So they're like, there's a very small number of that, maybe out of that 15 million, probably maybe less than 1 million in the last 100 years out of 15 million, have actually had anything serious. And how many of those have actually been completely cured or, actually taken care of to the best of the hospital's capability? I doubt if nearly half, if that. I would doubt nearly a quarter. I would doubt nearly, any of them maybe. So extreme neglect goes on, and it's, you can report all day to the Joint Commission of Healthcare Committee and executive branches of that, and all this, you can report and report and report, but it's, it really takes a lot of reports to hundreds of complaints, I'm sure. And, you may have to make 100 phone calls, or maybe 20 phone calls just to make ultimately one phone call, and do that hundreds of times, and that's one person. So even if you call in on different numbers and as anonymously as you can, it's, first of all, you'll be recognized. Second of all, even if you get away with it 100 times, I think they would need more complaints to actually investigate or prompt a change. And even then, it would probably require a petition to actually make a serious change in a lot of cases. Sorry, I have a cold here. But I think that's basically, how it works. Though there is ways, if a particular doctor or nurse is being particularly unpleasant, there's ways you can actually, everything's going slowly. There's ways to actually, report them or threaten to report them in various places. And yes, I'm calling it for everybody to do that. Don't kiss your doctor's ass like a lot of people do, or nurses, or anyone else in the healthcare field, especially if you really need the help. Don't think you have to kiss their ass to get help, because they're getting paid a lot of money, and they do take a pay cut from accepting Mass Health and other programs like that, state-run and federal programs like Mass Health, Medicare, and such. So, they have to take a pay cut in order to accept it. They'll get more patients, maybe, so so they decide to do that. But, it's like they're already getting way overpaid, and for the lack of treatment. And again, most of the work they do, and I know this from first-hand experience, is just send people home. They'll prescribe, the basic stuff: infection, antibiotic, this, it's that, basic procedure. It's anything where they have to go out of their way or not follow standard procedure. They're really mean and nasty, and if they can't immediately treat it with a cliche, they basically will get upset. Anyways, this video is running out of time, so I gotta